Now, from the area's leader in live local news, this is WYLN News, the area's #1 source of live local news and information in Luzerne, Schuylkill, Carbon, and Columbia counties. WYLN News starts now.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on WYLN News. I'm Preston Endress. A man is facing charges in Schuylkill County after police say he sexually assaulted a child. East Union Township Police say Christopher Rubio Florentino of Oneida was taken into custody on Tuesday following a 2-month-long investigation. According to court documents, Florentino has been charged with sexually assaulting and abusing a child multiple times over several years. The charges against Florentino include involuntary devious sexual intercourse, aggravated indecent assault, indecent exposure, child endangerment, and corruption of minors. He is currently behind bars at the Schuylkill County Prison, unable to post his $100,000 straight cash bail. Fire crews responded to a residential structure fire in Nanticoke on Tuesday morning. According to officials, the fire broke out around 9 a.m. on West Union Street. When crews arrived at the scene, they found smoke conditions inside the structure and an active fire inside and around the dryer in the basement. Emergency crews from Nanticoke, Newport Township, and Hanover Township all responded to the scene, and the fire was quickly knocked down. Officials report that the fire was contained to the basement of the home. 7 occupants have been temporarily displaced following the fire until the compromised electrical panel and wires can be repaired and inspected. The Red Cross has been requested to assist the occupants with finding temporary shelter. No injuries have been reported. Pennsylvania State Police are attempting to identify a man who reportedly hit 2 motorcyclists and fled the scene. According to investigators, the incident took place on October 6 around 12 p.m. on State Route 487 near Winding Road in Fishing Creek Township. During the incident, officials say the suspect was driving a silver GMC Yukon with a lights bar. According to troopers, the suspect hit 2 motorcyclists and stopped, but fled the scene before exchanging information or contacting police. Troopers also report that the vehicle registration for the Yukon did not match the vehicle. Anyone with information regarding the case is asked to contact the Pennsylvania State Police in Bloomsburg at 570-387-4261. Investigators say all callers will remain anonymous and could be eligible for a cash reward. Coming up on WYLN News, the National Weather Service issues a freeze warning for Thursday morning. Plus, the city of Hazleton gears up for their annual Trail of Treats event. But first, we'll take a look at our 5-day forecast brought to you by the WYLN Weather Kids. We'll be right back.
WYLN News is brought to you by the Lehigh Valley Health Network Express Care, now open on the Airport Beltway in Hazel Township. Walk-in care 365 days a year for common illness and minor injuries.
My name is Alexander Bonomo, and tomorrow's forecast is sunny.
We want your child to be our WYLN Weather Kid. Your child can be our feature weather reporter of the day on WYLN News and WYLN social media posts just by using your smartphone or any video recording device. It's easy. All ages are welcome, from toddlers to teens. To find out how, go to the weather section of WYLNTV.com or look for our post about it on the WYLN News Facebook page. Submit your Weather Kid video today. Third Base Luncheonette, still making memories after all these years. S.J. Kowalski is your Mitsubishi Diamond Contractor. They can install a Mitsubishi electric Mr. Slim ductless heating and cooling system. Mr. Slim systems are designed to make any living space in your home inviting. You can have a different temperature control for every room in your home. The money-saving technology can save you 25 to 50% on your heating bill. For Mitsubishi, Rinnai, and trained comfort specialists, call S.J. Kowalski at 570-455-2600.
Your guide to everything Pocono Mountains is PTN, the Pocono Television Network. Tune in and see all the unique places to stay and things to do in the Pocono Mountains. Watch PTN on WYLN.
WYLN TV 35 is expanding and is on the hunt for a dynamic salesperson to join our vibrant team. If you've got the passion and the drive, we want to hear from you. Send your resume to the email displayed on your screen. Don't miss this great opportunity.
Welcome back to WYLN News. The National Weather Service has issued a freeze warning for Carbon and Luzerne counties. According to officials, the warning is in effect from 2 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Thursday morning, with temperatures potentially dropping to 29 or 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Residents are reminded that frost and freeze conditions can kill crops and other sensitive vegetation, as well as cause damage to unprotected outdoor plumbing. For additional weather updates, you can visit the National Weather Service website at weather.gov. With spooky season almost upon us, the city of Hazleton has been gearing up for their annual Trail of Treats event at Cityview Park. The event will run from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at 700 South Poplar Street in Hazleton on Sunday, October 27th. During the free event, families will have the opportunity to walk the Trail of Treats and collect goodies. The trail will include decorated booths sponsored by local businesses and community-based organizations. Highlights for this year include free hot dogs provided by Wicked Foods and a dodgeball adventure hosted by the Mincy Trails Council of the Boy Scouts of America. Surprises at the end of the trail will also include a 5-in-1 bounce house castle, a 40-foot obstacle course, and a photo booth. Families are encouraged to come in costume and to bring a bag or bucket for collecting goodies. The West Hazleton Fire Company is inviting the public for their first annual Harvest Street Party. The event will take place on Saturday, October 19th at the West Hazleton Fire Station located at 12 South 4th Street in West Hazleton. During the event, participants will be able to enjoy live entertainment, take part in the Tricky Tray raffles, and try a selection of hot food and baked goods. Kids at the event will also have the opportunity to paint a pumpkin, explore the fire safety house, and check out a wide variety of emergency vehicles. The festival will run from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. All proceeds from the event will support the fire company and help pay for equipment and training for firefighters. Coming up on Lansford's News Choice, Chris Fulmer leads us down the path through history with Pittston Part 3. Plus, we learn about the work of nurse practitioners and family medicine on this week's Wellness Wednesday. And stay right here on WYLN. We'll be right back.
It's the fall at Grimm's Orchard and Family Farm, so every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from now until November 3rd, there's a fall festival and the corn maze is open. And check out the pumpkin patch. Get your fix of all things fall at Grimm's Orchard and Family Farms. Activities and exhibits for the whole family. Corn maze, pumpkins, pick your own apples in the orchard with over 25 different varieties. And don't forget, fries raised from the ground up. You pick them, they fry them. Grimm's Orchard and Family Farms. Fresh from the Farm is brought to you by the Lehigh Valley Health Network. Do you remember cranking down the car windows so you can pump up the jam? If you do, schedule your mammogram online today. Visit lvhn.org/mammo. If you're looking for an affordable pre-owned car or truck, Cheers Auto Sales has a great lineup of clean, dependable, and quality vehicles. Stop in at 610 North Broad Street in West Hazleton, 570-454-7229. Cheers is proud to be celebrating 70 years in business.
Hey, it's Justin from Grand Central, and our trained sleep professionals are here to help you sleep like never before. With an extensive line of Sealy and Stearns & Foster mattresses, we are sure to find you the right mattress at the right price. Free delivery and removal, interest-free financing for up to 60 months, and same or next day delivery on select models.
And don't forget, everyday low prices. Stop in to one of our 2 locations, Route 93 in Nescopec,
Or downtown Hazleton,
and see why Northeast and Central Pennsylvania sleeps better with Grand Central.
FNL Doors, your trusted overhead door supplier for over 50 years, providing quality products and services to Eastern PA and beyond with 2 strategic locations. They carry garage doors from leading manufacturers in the industry like Rayner. They guarantee parts and service for your home or business, from new construction to replacement doors, inspections, and service calls. FNL Doors stands behind every job, taking pride in the work they do. Call 800-344-DOOR or visit FNL Doors online at fldoors.com or visit their showrooms in Hazel Township or Schuylkill Haven.
Hi everybody. This week on Let's Talk Chiropractic, an exciting show. Jen ruptured a disc at work. She was fired. We got her better. She got an attorney, got settlement, and has a beautiful life. So check in on a great show this week.
A Path Through History is sponsored by the Old Jail Museum, 128 West Broad Street in Jim Thorpe. Call 570-325-5259 or visit them online at theoldjailmuseum.com.
As the 20th century began, baseball continued its rise to becoming the national pastime, and 2 of the game's most successful managers could trace their roots back to Pittston. The first, Huey Jennings, had been born in town in 1869 and worked as a breaker boy in his youth. He first came to the attention of national scouts when playing on a semi-pro team in Lehighton, and was signed by the American Association's Louisville Colonels. He would make his biggest impact on the field with the original minor league Baltimore Orioles from 1893 to 1899, where he was one of the best shortstops in the game. In arguably his best season in 1896, he hit .401 with 121 RBIs, despite being hit by pitches a record 51 times. Jennings' playing career ended in 1903, but 4 years later he would be named manager of the Detroit Tigers. His first 3 teams, led by future Hall of Famers Ty Cobb and Sam Crawford, all reached the World Series, although he came up short in all of them. Jennings managed the Tigers through 1920, winning 1,131 games, with his distinctive call of "Yee-yah!" while managing the team becoming his trademark. After relinquishing his job, he would serve as an assistant under his former Orioles teammate John McGraw with the Giants until suffering a nervous breakdown after the 1925 season. He would be committed to a sanitarium in North Carolina, but eventually returned to northeastern Pennsylvania, where he died in 1928. Huey Jennings rests today in Moscow's St. Catherine Cemetery. He was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1945. At the time Jennings' managerial career was winding down, Stanley Harris, better known as Bucky, was just beginning his. Harris was born in Port Jervis, New York in 1896, but grew up in Pittston. It would in fact be Huey Jennings who would sign Harris to his first baseball contract in 1916 for the Central League's Muskegon Reds. He gradually moved up through the minor leagues over the next 3 years before he was called up by the Washington Senators in August 1919. He would spend the next 9 years as the Senators' second baseman, and in 1924 was appointed a player-manager for the team. He would immediately make team management feel good about the promotion, leading the Senators to the 1924 World Series title, while batting .333 and hitting 2 home runs in the series. Now called the Boy Wonder for his efforts, Harris managed the Senators back to the World Series the following season, although the team would be defeated by the Pittsburgh Pirates this time. Harris's playing career essentially ended after he was traded to the Tigers in 1929. He would win a second World Series with the Yankees in 1947 and would win 2,158 games in 29 total seasons with the Tigers, Red Sox, Phillies, Yankees, and Senators, which puts him among the top 10 among Major League managers. Bucky Harris died in 1977 and rests today in Hughstown's St. Peter's Lutheran Cemetery. He would join Huey Jennings in the Hall of Fame in 1975. In Pittston itself, several movie theaters would open their doors for patrons over the years. Perhaps the grandest was the American Theater, which was the largest theater in the Comerford chain when it opened on June 9, 1924. It had a total capacity of 2,500 seats, with 1,200 on the first floor, 1,100 in the balcony, and 200 box seats. The stage was 35 feet deep, and for the vaudeville shows that also called the building home at times, there were 10 dressing rooms underneath. Besides vaudeville and the movies, the theater also hosted big band shows during its lifetime. The American Theater closed in the late 1960s, and stood vacant afterwards for some years until it was torn down in the 1980s. A Rite Aid now stands on the theater's former site. In America, it is a dream that anyone can become anything they want with hard work and a little luck. For one Pittston native, that will include being crowned king of a tropical island. Faustin Workus was born in the city in 1896, the son of Polish immigrants. The family eventually moved to DuPont, where young Faustin worked as a slate picker in the breakers, a depressing job that made him dream of something more. As he would write years later, "In the little time I had been in school, it had become foggily known to me that somewhere out beyond the dust, the rattling collieries and the grimy shacks, was a world full of thrill and the glory of being alive." Thus, at age 18, Workus signed up for the Marines, lying about his age to guarantee that he would get in. In 1915, he would be deployed to Haiti, where American forces occupied the country following the collapse of the previous Haitian government. He would come to enjoy the Caribbean nation very much, and unlike too many Americans of the time, Workus respected and got along well with non-white Haitians. He would be stationed on and off in Haiti over the ensuing years during the continued American occupation, which ultimately lasted until 1934. By 1925, Workus requested and received the post of district commander on the island of La Gonâve, about 50 miles west of Port-au-Prince. He took his new position in April 1925 and quickly made a positive impression for himself among the island's inhabitants by firing numerous corrupt tax collectors and building the island's first airfield. He also became good friends with La Gonâve's queen Timamen. A commonly told story held that Workus rescued the queen from being arrested for failure to pay taxes, although no firm evidence of this tale exists at present. As it was, an emperor named Faustin ruled the island back in the mid-1800s, and had promised, before he had disappeared, that another would come with his name to take the throne. And so it was, on July 18, 1926, that Workus arrived for what he assumed would be a simple civic festival. Instead, to his surprise, he was carried by the island's joyful citizens to the nearest voodoo temple, smeared with rooster blood, and proclaimed King Faustin II. He nonetheless accepted the throne, and ruled in conjunction with Queen Timamen for the next 3 years, with his own flag bearers and honor guard. Workus tried to rule as fairly as he could, and thus remained popular among La Gonâve's citizens, although predictably Haitian President Louis Borno was not happy at a king ruling in his republic under his nose, grumbling, "Haiti is a republique, I am its president. It is unthinkable there should be a kingdom within a republique, or a king." Faustin Workus' reign over La Gonâve ended in 1929 when the Marines transferred him back stateside. He mustered out of the Marines in 1931 as a gunnery sergeant, but re-enlisted in 1939. He would serve as a recruiter in New York, and then at a pre-flight school in North Carolina before his death in 1945. Faustin Workus rests today in Arlington National Cemetery. For much of the 20th century, animation would make a strong mark in American culture, with popular cartoon characters becoming part of the country's identity. And two brothers from Pittston each contributed to animation history in their own way. The older brother, Dan Gordon, was born in Pittston in 1902. Originally working professionally as a draftsman, he got a start in animation at New York City's Van Buren Studios, home to the Toonerville Trolley series. After a brief subsequent stint with Paul Terry's Terrytoon Studios, he was hired by Max Fleischer in 1937. He was quickly pressed into service as a story editor for the Fleischer's feature film Gulliver's Travels, which parent studio Paramount had pressed Fleischer to make after the runaway success of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Despite Gordon's best efforts, though, the finished picture would be an uneven film that made nowhere near Snow White's gross and was heavily panned by Walt Disney, who scoffed after seeing the film, "We can do better than that with our second-string animators." Gordon continued in the story department for Fleischer's second feature, Mr. Bug Goes to Town, although the outbreak of World War II reduced that film's gross as well. He would have more commercial success with the Fleischer Superman cartoons, whose large budgets allowed for much creativity for the animators, and were where Superman, who previously only took giant leaps in the comics, flew for the first time, as Max Fleischer had told DC Comics executives that giant leaps would look silly in animation. Gordon would also have success directing Popeye cartoons, with his entries in the Sailor series earning praise for their high energy and fourth wall breaking. Gordon left Fleischer's studio in 1943 and entered the world of comic books, where he produced the Super Cat and Cookie O'Toole series. He returned to animation in 1957, where he joined his former partner Terrytoon's Joe Barbera at the Hanna-Barbera Studios. Gordon would get perhaps his greatest assignment when he was tasked with the initial storyboards for the company's new primetime show about a certain modern Stone Age family that was a page right out of history. Indeed, Bill Hanna would later say, "To me, Dan Gordon is responsible for the Flintstones. He came up with the basic concept of doing it with cavemen." Dan Gordon continued working for the Hanna-Barbera Studios until his death in 1970. In the meantime, Dan's younger brother George Gordon, born in 1906, had blazed his own trail in animation history. He began work in 1930 at Terrytoons, where he had worked on the moderately popular Farmer Alfalfa series. He joined MGM's animation division in 1937, and 3 years later would have the honor of working on the very first Tom and Jerry cartoon, Puss Gets the Boot. Gordon continued with the Tom and Jerry series through 1943. He then worked for some time at John Sutherland Productions before moving to UPA and contributing story elements to Mr. Magoo cartoons. Later in the 60s, he was hired at Patty Freeling Productions, where he directed several entries for The Ant and the Aardvark. Like his brother, George Gordon would end his career at Hanna-Barbera, where his credits included directorial work for the Super Friends, several Scooby-Doo series, The Quickie Koala Show, which would be notable as including Tex Avery's final contributions to animation before his death, and The Smurfs. George Gordon died in 1986.
Your guide to everything Pocono Mountains is PTN, the Pocono Television Network. Watch PTN on WYLN.
Contact Pete Casalica for a home and auto quote today.
Penn State Hazleton is improving the lives of others, starting in our community.
Providing degrees that meet the needs of the area.
Fueling entrepreneurship and contributing more than $36 million annually to the state's economy.
Researching the health of our local ecosystem on the Susquehanna River.
Together, our impact keeps growing, backed by the strength of 24 campuses and 700,000 alumni.
Come shoot at Whitetail Preserve, 118 Boulevard Road in Bloomsburg. Their skeet, trap, and sporting clay fields are professionally designed, and all stations are handicap accessible. Whitetail Preserve has resident shooting instructors certified by the NRA in shotgun, rifle, pistol, home safety, and personal protection in the home. Whitetail can also cater any size event, whether it be a private party, corporate event, or wedding. Call 570-384-2314 or 570-790-8969. Do you like craft beer? Do you want to learn the right way to sample wine? How about checking out a restaurant with a unique flavor or a crazy food challenge? These are just some of the things we are featuring on Wine, Hops, and Roadstocks. So, spend some time learning about great wine, great beer, and great food on WYLN TV 35.
Hi, welcome to Wellness Wednesday. I'm Lisa Marie, and I am here at LVPG Family Medicine on the Airport Beltway with Rosalind Johnson, who is a nurse practitioner. Hi, Rosalind.
Hi.
So I don't want anybody to get a little confused. So when I say LVPG Family Medicine, Airport Beltway, we are housed in the exact same building as our new Express Care is. So on one side is LVPG Family Medicine, the other side is Express Care. But we're here to tell you more about what Rosalind does as a nurse practitioner for family medicine. So Rosalind, tell us what you do as a family medicine practitioner.
So in family medicine, we will see people for both their chronic and their acute illnesses. So not just like when you're not feeling well, but we'll also see you, like say you just need a regular check on your blood pressure, your diabetes, your cholesterol. Those are some common ones we treat, but even some, not so common. So any rheumatologic disorders will reach out to you. But the main thing that we do in primary care is not only reach out to you and try to help you with all of your preventative medicine, your cancer screenings and so forth, but I always say we like to keep everything tied in a nice bow or a box for you in primary care. So if you're seeing multiple specialists, sometimes we'll talk to you about those visits that you had with them. Sometimes people will think that they're seeing a specialist for one issue, but we're like, oh no, your neurologist treats for headaches. Do you remember? And they'll say, oh yeah, that's right. So we like to keep everything in a nice bow and then remind them like, hey, don't forget your neurologist appointment is in 3 months, so don't forget to go to that. You know, so we try to keep everything in a centralized spot for you and try to help you to understand why you're seeing different specialists. So chronic and both acute visits here.
That's really good to know because a lot of people just don't understand, you know, that part of it. So how do they get an appointment? I mean, this isn't walk-in, of course, where Express Care is, which is right next door, totally different from you guys. And you're here with 2 other physicians, correct?
Yeah, so Dr. Almusa is here, and so is Dr. Rebscheld. She's also here too, so if you feel more comfortable with a male, we offer that here. We also have both myself and Dr. Rebscheld, so 2 females here if you feel more comfortable. But to get an appointment, a lot of times it's just to call our office, or if you have your MyChart set up, you definitely can do right through the My LVHN app and get an appointment with one of us.
Awesome. And I see behind you this screen with the Epic. I know what Epic is, but could you tell us a little bit about what Epic is and how that helps our patients?
Of course. So Epic is our electronic medical record, or you might hear it referred to a lot as an EMR system. It's actually one of the most intertwined electronic medical record systeming that a lot of not just Lehigh Valley uses, but some other medical networks will use. Okay. So a lot of times it will speak to other places. So say you said, oh, I saw someone actually out in Maryland, I might actually be able to access it through here. So it's really great. It's a nice handy way for us to keep everything together. No more paper charts, which is really great.
Love that.
Nothing really gets too lost through here. And if we can't get it through here, all it usually is just a little release sign. We reach out to that provider and then we get those notes, scan them in, and then they're still in your chart here.
So now I was kind of looking at your Find a Doc, which we have on lvhn.org/findadoc, and I saw that you were a candy striper.
I
love that.
Yes, that's how I originally started with medicine and so forth.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah. So my dad had some chronic illnesses when we were younger, and so he was in and out of the hospital, and I always saw candy stripers passing out water and so forth. So that's kind of how I started. I think I was maybe 14, 15, and I lived in Florida at the time, and that's what I did.
Oh, that's wonderful. And you also volunteered in a nursing home too, I saw.
We planned parties and spent time with the residents and so forth, so that's kind of how I got into it.
And this is your passion. I can see that. I hear so many great things about you in the community. So I see something else over here, over my shoulder, and I know it's on our interpreter pad as well. So if someone speaks another language, and I see there are several here, we can communicate much better with those of our patients that may not speak English, or we don't have someone here who's bilingual or speaks Arabic, correct?
Yeah, so what's great about that, there's so many different languages on there, and it's not like the blue telephone we used to use in the hospital back in the day. It's actual person that will come up on the video. I have used it for multiple languages. Not only Spanish is probably our most common one in the Hazleton area, but we have also used it for Urdu, Vietnamese, Mandarin. I've also used it for Haitian. So there is just a multitude for us to pick on there, and it's like having an interpreter sitting in the room. The patients tend to respond to it very well. They really like it.
And sign language, I understand as well.
It is on there as well.
That's wonderful. Well, Rosalind, we want to thank you so much for educating our community on what this practice does, yourself and your other colleagues here. And thank you so much for watching Wellness Wednesday.
You're watching WYLN TV 35.